And welcome back to Nancy's Neighborhood, folks. And I have my dear friend Cheryl Dunson on with me. She's my New York City roomie. Anytime the Magnificent Four go to New York, we room together, and we do a lot of other things together, and big supporters of several nonprofit organizations around. And I always love having Cheryl on because today she's going to talk about the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day. And I love having her on to talk about that because this is very important.
It is. It's very important, and it just seems that as we have 2 events per year, and in the spring we had a record turnout.
Oh my gosh.
So we are expecting an even greater turnout this Saturday from 8 to noon at the Bradley County Justice Center.
And that is this Saturday, October the 19th.
Correct.
Because it got on Facebook, I know, as a different date. But it is this Saturday, the 19th, from 8 until noon. Now, explain to everybody, first of all, what is hazardous waste and how do we get rid of it?
Okay, well, the first thing the public needs to realize is these are waste streams that come out of your household. We do not accept any agribusiness waste or commercial waste. So if you're a paint contractor, do not show up at the Justice Center with a trailer load of paint cans because you're busted.
There you go. Okay.
And we have the environmental enforcement officer on site and all of his volunteer inmate labor, and we will turn you around and send you home.
That is good to know.
So this is all these materials come out of your household. So anything like old electronics, old computers, old televisions, even the ones you remember in the wooden,
yes, ma'am,
encased old televisions. We will take those. Computers, like I said, any type of paint that you've got that's been, say, in a shed or in a storage container for a number of years. However, if that paint has turned into a solid or the paint can is empty, please don't bring it to us because it can go in your garbage. So
good to know.
We're looking for things that are still what we consider to be household hazardous waste, pesticides, solvents, fertilizer, old medicines, anything like fluorescent light bulbs. We were just talking about
those because I have some.
Okay, now on the fluorescent light bulbs, when you get those bulbs out of wherever you've had them stored, I want you to check the ends of those light bulbs. If they're metal in color like silver, then yes, please bring them to the event. If they have a green tip, it means that they have no mercury in them. And they can go in your regular household waste. So the reason we're kind of stressing why it's important not to bring empty paint cans or not to bring paint that is turned into a solid or fluorescent light bulbs that have green tips is because these wastes will not be recycled. They'll go in the garbage, and we'll have to pay to get rid of those waste streams.
Okay.
So the other thing that really brought the people out in the spring is our partnership with the Better Business Bureau.
I love this.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa Guerin, because we're offering document destruction, which is very, very valuable because most people have to pay to get rid of old documents that are sensitive, that contain very valuable information. We'll actually shred them on site on Saturday for free.
Okay.
And so one of the things that we're working on, and people need to be patient with us because we're logistically changing the flow of traffic, especially for those people who are coming out with documents only. In the spring, what happened was we had a line that people waited 45 minutes to get rid of their documents because they were in the line with the household hazardous waste people.
Gotcha.
So I've worked pretty diligently with Tim Mason, the environmental enforcement officer at the Bradley County Sheriff's Department, to set up a separate line for people with just documents. However, if you have both, you're going to have to stay in the regular line because we can't have multiple lines for this type of material. So it's going to be a little, logistically different, but we're hoping people will be patient. And if you're coming out to the event and you want to be first in line, I understand getting there at 7 o'clock is important to you, but understand we will not begin accepting waste until 8. So you will wait an hour to be able able to, and we will have somebody show up at
You
7
will,
o'clock.
of course you will. And they need to take their Kindle or a good book to read, and don't let your car run the whole hour because you may run out of gas and hold up everything. So,
Exactly.
but yes, you're right. There will be people there at 7 so they can be first in line.
That's right.
So, okay, walk everybody through how this is going to work
Okay.
with the hazardous materials.
Okay, so what'll happen is when you get to the Justice Center on Saturday morning, the first thing we're going to do is we'll have some Keep America Beautiful volunteers who will be giving a survey, taking a survey. And the first thing they're going to ask you is, how many households are you representing today? Because those numbers are very important to us. And then we'll say, how are you representing the city or the county? Because we want to see what representation we have for people who are Cleveland residents or Bradley County residents. Once that survey has been taken, and stormwater will also, city and county stormwater will also be on site to give them literature about what not to put down a drain and how to keep our water systems healthy. They'll move to the first station, which is electronics. Those are the heavy, back-breaking materials, but we don't want residents getting out of their cars. We will have volunteers on site the whole way through the process to unload those waste streams. And we'll say, please stay in your vehicle, but typically somebody has to get out of their vehicle.
Right.
But anyway, most people understand, please stay in your vehicle. Right. And then that we'll move you to the paints. And we'll have a lot of inmate labor because we normally do electronics and paints are what we get the most of.
Wow.
And then the last station will be everything else, your pesticides, your cleaning products, your fluorescent light bulbs, your medicines, anything that's not electronically related or paint related will be taken at the last station. Now for those people with documents, we're going to have a special parking lot in front of the Justice Center that will be roped off for people who will leave the station where we take the pesticides. We'll direct them to the document shredding, or if they're coming into the Justice Center and all they've got is documents, they'll enter that parking lot and then they'll be in and out as quickly as possible.
Very good.
But our goal is to, again, reduce wait time, but provide a safe environment for everybody to unload their waste streams.
And let's say this too, this is a safe, free environment.
And because it's free, it is limited to Bradley County residents only. I'm sorry if you live in another county and they don't offer this service. But the reason why that's important is because Bradley County government is paying for this event. And each event costs in the neighborhood of around $50,000.
Wow.
And no, it's not paid for by taxpayer money. It's paid for by revenue that Santec Waste Services, who manages the landfill, returns back to Bradley County every year in the form of host fees. So it is totally funded through those fees, but it's still important that we be good stewards of that money and of that event. So we can't accept any, again, commercial waste, agribusiness waste, or out-of-county waste.
Right. And I think, now this used to be, now let me not get people confused, it used to be at the landfill, at the Tri-State. I'm sorry, it's Tri-State.
Yes.
You're not there anymore.
No, we moved that event several years ago because I can distinctly remember one fall event where it rained from the time we began until the time we ended, and I was covered in mud.
Yes, I can only imagine because of where you were. Yes.
And so we got with the sheriff at that time and looked at the layout to the Justice Center, and from again a logistical perspective, it made sense. We were on asphalt the whole time, so whether it rains, whether it snows, whether we have a heat wave like we did last year, I think it got into the 90 degrees last year. So this is why we kind of pushed it off into later October, and based on the temperatures in the first week of October, I'm glad that we did.
Absolutely.
And then the other reason is because I tried to pick a day when there's not a Tennessee football game, but this year it's in Tuscaloosa, and I figured most people will probably want to watch that game on TV.
I know you'll want to watch that game on TV.
We won't go there, Nancy.
But it's a 9 o'clock game.
Exactly.
So surely, I mean, I think even if you got out there to the waste at 8 o'clock and got emptied, you could still make it to Tuscaloosa in time for the game.
Good point.
So
Good point. I didn't know what time the game was when we picked this
right,
date.
but it's a 9 o'clock
It's a
game,
9 o'clock game.
so we should be okay with that. So,
Yeah.
but it is tough sometimes working around schedules.
It is.
And so this is going to be this coming Saturday, folks, October the 19th. Contrary to what you've seen or heard anywhere else, it will be this Saturday from 8 until noon. And I just love the fact that we do this, Cheryl, because this is so environmentally important.
It is. It is important. I want everybody to keep in mind that I've had several calls this week about microwaves. They are not hazardous. We will not accept your microwaves if you bring them out. We accept those all year round at the landfill. Another thing that I want people to remember is your waste oils or your lead acid batteries. We take those for free all year round at the landfill.
Okay.
So if you bring that material to the event on Saturday, the county's going to have to pay to get rid of that event, as opposed to if you bring it to the landfill, we'll manage that waste stream and get it recycled free of charge to the residents.
Okay, and the landfill is out at exit 20 in case anybody has any problems. But now let me ask you this question. We have the recycling places on Peerless and one on Stewart Road. Urbane Road.
Right.
Out off Stewart.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a big trailer on Peerless because I use that one all the time for cardboard newspapers. And I see it looks like some electrical things there.
They do accept some electronics.
Okay.
So, for example, if you have a monitor or a TV set, a screen,
Right.
they won't accept those.
Okay.
So if you have a hard drive of a computer, you can take those to Peerless Road. But why this event is so popular is because we'll take any electronic on Saturday.
Okay.
So if you've got a console or you've got a cell phone or you've got a flat top screen, we'll accept all of that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't even want to know what you do with it, but I mean, that's a whole lot of garbage.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to the landfill, contrary to popular belief. We actually contract with a company called Clean Harbors, and Clean Harbors is in the business of hazardous waste remediation, removal, recycling.
Okay.
And so what they do is that's why we have these different stations so that the electronics can go in one group of waste, the paints go in another group, and so that way we're able to segregate the waste streams and properly recycle them, dispose of them, or render them benign.
Okay. Render them benign.
Yeah, in other words, they're no longer hazardous.
Right, and this other company,
Clean Harbors.
Clean Harbor, does that for us.
Yes.
And this is great because this is just something I think oftentimes we just don't realize the impact that some of our garbage has on things.
Yeah, and so I really want to give a great shout out to Cleveland Utilities for the brochure. We pay for the brochure, but Cleveland Utilities is kind enough to put it in their billing cycle.
They are.
And so 29,000 of these flyers went out, which is a great way to get the word out. Again, the Bradley County Sheriff's Department, Cleveland Bradley Keep America Beautiful that provides the volunteers, Santec Waste Services, which coordinates the event, and I know I'm forgetting, Cleveland and Bradley County Stormwater Divisions, which provide breakfast for all of our inmates and volunteers.
Neat. Okay.
Yes, so it's a very concerted effort by a number of entities that come. Better Business Bureau.
For the shredding.
For the shredding. So it's a really concerted effort by a number of organizations.
Right, and that is why you only have it twice a year.
That is correct.
Because it takes, first of all, it takes money.
Yes.
And it takes personnel.
Yes.
And so twice a year is good.
And Bradley County government for funding this event. We couldn't do it without the funding.
Right.
Because it's so expensive.
That's exactly right. And Cheryl, thank you so much for being on with me today. This is great. Now I'm going to have Cheryl back on with me in November because she wants to talk about something else, which is also very near and dear to our hearts because my grandbabies came from there. My grandbaby dogs came from there. And so it's just a thrill to have Cheryl on today to talk about this. And I hope I'm going to check my fluorescent light bulbs, but I have a feeling I need to bring them to you
Okay.
because they are old, and I don't think there's a green spot on them. I think it's metal. So
We'll take them.
I know you will. Cheryl, thank you so
All
much.
right.
I appreciate you being on with me. Folks, don't go away. We're going to go back to our commercials. Now, remember, watch our commercials, support our sponsors because they pay our bills. And I'll be right back to tell you about a whole bunch of things that are happening this week, this weekend, and next week. So don't go away. I'll be right back.